to elimination. So the steps are not going to change. It's going to these same 4 steps. You still need to memorize and apply these steps. But we're just now going to look at 2 different levels of using elimination. So still have the same steps from last week. Memorize and apply. So we're just going to memorize and apply these steps. So the first one is review. So review level 1, no multiplication is needed. All right. But if we apply step 1 says that we want to write the system in standard form so that the like terms are lined up. Okay. Line the variable terms x and y on the left side and your constant, your number on the right side. So if I look right now, are the like terms, are these like terms lined up right here? No. Okay, so that means you have to rewrite it. Okay. So we are going to rewrite in standard form. So in standard form, your variables are on the left side of the equal sign. Your constant is on the right side of the equal sign. Let me scroll up. So to do that, this requires moving terms over on the other side of the equal sign. We're going to have to rewrite for this first equation. Which term needs to go to the left side? Because we have to have x's and y's on the left side of the equation. This is the left side, guys, if you're not sure. What term is on the left side right now? Y. But we have to have an x and a y. So which term needs to move? The negative 9x needs to move. So here's what happens. We're going to circle that term. We're going to draw an arrow moving it over. And when we move it, it now becomes plus 9x. When you move any term to the other side of the equal sign, you have to do the opposite. Okay? So when I rewrite this, this is now positive 9x plus y equals 37. So now my x and my y are on the left. My constant, which is my number, is on the right. And then I'm just going to rewrite or reline up. This is negative 9x plus 2y equals negative 7. Now, are my terms lined up? Yes. Okay. I can physically see that here's an x term, there's an x term. Here's a y term, there's a y term. There's a constant, there's a constant. They're stacked and lined up. So I can add to eliminate. Which term can be eliminated? X. The x, because it is an opposite. We have a positive 9x and a negative, so that's gone. Now we're adding up our y's. Now we're just doing exactly what we did last week. So add up our terms. Y plus 2y gives me 3y. If I have a 30 plus a negative 7, a 37, excuse me, plus a negative 7, leaves me with 30. So what is my y going to equal? 10. Y is 10. Okay, so we practically just did steps 1, rewriting, 2 and 3. We solved the equation. Now we have to plug it back in. Now that we have the y, we need to plug it back in. Which equation would you want to plug back into? It doesn't matter. Plug back in. All right, we're going to do the bottom, which is negative 9x plus 2y equals negative 7. We are now taking this y that we have the value for, which is this 10, and we're plugging it in for the y using parentheses into that equation. So when I do that, we have negative 9x plus 2 parentheses 10 equals negative 7. Okay. If you need more room, you can come to the side, but really, I'm going to move it up here. Negative 9x plus 20 equals negative 7. But you're going to end up having to subtract 20 on both sides. So negative 9x equals negative 27. So our x equals 3. So our solution, or our answer, is still the order pair 3, 10. All right, so this should have been reviewed because this is what we did last week using elimination. All right, now we're going to go to level 2 and 3. So if you flip it over, go to the next one. Now we've kind of done a level 1 already. When we see lined up terms, our x's are lined up, our y's are lined up, and our constants are lined up. And then we have to create opposites here, because which term could we eliminate? The y. Well, the y, but we have to create it into an opposite. So could we do here? Because we did this last week as well. What would we need to do to create an opposite? Multiply negative 1. Do you want to do top or bottom? Okay, so parentheses, I'm going to put it on the bottom, negative 1, and I'm going to rewrite it to the right here. Negative 1 times 2x now makes this a negative 2x times 7y makes that a negative 7y or minus 7y. Makes that now a positive 7. The top equation stays the same. So that's a 3x plus 7y equals negative 14. Now we're adding the 2 to eliminate the y's. Reset. So the y's are canceled. They're gone. 3x plus a negative 2x is going to leave me with x. Negative 14 plus 7, negative 7. And there's our x. So all we need to do now is plug back in. Which equation do you want to plug back into? All right, top 3x plus 7y equals negative 14. We're going to take the value of x, which is a negative 7, and plug it into that equation using parentheses. So that would be 3 parentheses negative 7 plus 7y equals negative 14. All right, so negative 21 plus 7y equals negative 14. You add the 21 to both sides. What are we going to get here? 7y equals 7. So what's our y? Y is 1. Because if you divide everything by 7, y equals 1. So our answer is 1 comma negative 7. Oh yeah, sorry. Negative 7 comma 1. You're right. Okay, so 1 we've done. Doing a negative. Okay, sometimes you have to multiply by your least common multiple. Okay, so you're not going to multiply by 1. You're going to multiply by a whole number, or sometimes a fraction if you need to reduce. But you still want to make sure step 1 is applied, like your x terms are lined up, your y terms are lined up, and your constants are lined up. You still want them lined up. But then your key to this is you got to pay attention to the coefficient. Okay? We have to have the coefficients of each term to be opposite. So which term could you create an opposite for?
Y.
What would you have to do to the y to make it an opposite? Multiply by 3. Because if I do 3 times 3, now it becomes a 9 here. Does that make sense? So we're going to do parentheses on the bottom and put a 3 in front of that instead of now. Before we're doing negative 1. Now we're going to do a multiple of the coefficient. We're multiplying everything by the 3. So I'm going to rewrite it to the right. 3 times a negative x, that's a negative 3x. 3 times 3y now makes that 9y. 3 times 10 makes that 30. And we rewrite the top. So 3x minus 9y equals negative 20. Right? Are we okay there? Now when you add them, okay, I'll wait. I'll let y'all get caught up. What are you doing? You. We still have our terms lined up. What happens here when we add them? The x becomes 0, the y's become 0, and then we have a negative 20 times 30, plus 30, so we're plus 10. So what is this telling me? Yeah, this is a false statement, so this is no solution. Or you can use the symbol, the empty set, 0 with the line through it. I can move this over. All right, let's look at number 3. Are your terms, variables, and constant numbers lined up? Okay. Which term could we multiply to create an opposite? The top one. Which term? The x or the y? Yeah. Do you see how the key, guys, usually find your smallest term, which is my x right here. That's the smallest one because it doesn't have a number in front of it. So it's just the 1. And then I compare it to what's below it. It's a 4x. Okay. So I need to remember, create opposite terms though. So when I multiply the top, I want to now have a 4 coefficient, but it needs to be opposite. So what should I be multiplying by? Negative 4, not just 4. The opposite of the coefficient, a negative 4. So you're doing negative 4 times x. I'm just going to rewrite it to the right here. That's a negative 4x. A negative 4 times that minus 6y now makes that a positive 24y. And then negative 4 times that 1 makes that a negative 4. You need to show the new equation after you multiply by the least common multiple. And line up your terms. So this is the bottom one stays the same. We have a positive 4x minus 5y equals 23. Now we can add them to eliminate the x. When we do that, 24 plus a negative 5y. What's that going to leave us? Yeah, 19y equals what? 19. There we go. So then we're going to divide by 19. So our y equals 1. Now, got to plug it back in. Which one do you want to plug back into? All right, we're going to plug back in. 4x minus 5y equals 23. We're taking what the y is, which is 1, plugging it back in using parentheses. So 4x minus 5 times 1 equals 23. What is our y? Our x. Yeah. X equals 7. So our solution is 7, 1. All right, so that's level 2 is multiplying 1. Now for the last set, if you look at number 4 here, level 3, This is actually just a typo. This is going to require 2 multiplication. So change that to 2 multiplication required. All right. You still need to make sure your terms are lined up, which they are here. We have our x's lined up. We have our y's lined up. We have our constants. Now what I have to look at is the number in front of the variables to create a common coefficient by multiplying the least common multiple. To me, the key is to focus on the smallest one, okay? Which is the smallest variable?
2x.
The 2x. Okay, so look at your 2 and look at the 3. What multiples do they have in common? Like if you multiply numbers 2 each, 6, right? Yeah, you can do 2, 4, 6. These are your multiples, 8, 10, right? This would be 3, 6, 9, 12. This is the smallest one that they have in common, right? So we're going to make both of them a 6 coefficient, but we want them to be opposite. So if I want it to be an opposite, the top one has to be multiplied by what to become a 6? A 3. The bottom one has to be multiplied by, and it's going to be -2 because we want it to be opposite. Are we okay on that? We're multiplying everything, so you're going to have to rewrite it here. 3 times 2x, that's 6x. 3 times 3y, that comes plus 9y. And then 3 times 2, so this makes it equal 6. When I do the bottom one, -2 times 3x, -6x. -2 times 5y, -10y. And then -2 times 7 equals -14. Now we've created the opposites, and we can eliminate which term?
6x.
The x terms can now cancel out. So I want you to make sure you have rewrote the equation and solve for y now. -y equals -8, so y equals 8, +8. All right, what's our x? You're not done after that, guys. What do we have to do now?
Plug it back in.
Plug it back in. Which one do you want to plug it back in?
Okay.
Okay, and when we go back in, guys, to the top, we're going back to the original. So 2x plus 3y equals 2. I don't have to go back to what I multiplied. Just go back to your original equation. So I'm taking this 8 for y, plugging it in. So 2x plus 3 parentheses 8 equals 2. So really this is, I'm going to come up here, 2x plus 24 equals 2. 2x equals -22. So x equals -11. Are we okay on that? So our solution is the order pair -11, comma 8. Okay. So sometimes you have to multiply both equations. Okay, 2 multiplications. All right, so let's look at number 5. Which term could we create an opposite for? Should we try to create an opposite for the x or for the y? The x, those are the smallest ones. Yeah, look, we got a 4x and we got a 3x. What would I need to multiply to create an opposite? What multiple do 4 and 3 have in common? 12, exactly. So the top one has to be multiplied by 3, okay? And the bottom one has to be multiplied by 4. Okay? So I'm just going to rewrite it. So minus or -12x. Then I have -24y equals -12. Sorry. Then my bottom equation, +12x, +24y equals positive 12. And then what happens here when we add them? Cancel, right? Cancel. Okay. Yeah, we just get 0 equals 0, which is true. So what is our solution here?
True.
True statement. But what's our solution?
Real.
Yeah, infinite. Yeah, our real numbers. We have infinite solutions. Or we can say all real numbers. Okay. All right, so I want you to try number 6. I'm going to stamp that your notes are completed. While you're doing number 6, I'm going to pass out the homework that goes with these set of notes. Okay, and let you start on that. Okay, I checked this. Most of you had this. We needed to make the y's opposite. That's the easiest one to do. And then depending on if you multiply the top by a negative or the bottom by the negative, eventually, because this would have came out to be 14x equals 28. So our x should equal 2. And most of you had this right. The answer was 2 comma negative 5. So you just plug that into one of the equations to get your solution. So this is our next page in our spiral. I will show you this again because we're going to add some things to it tomorrow. We have 8 items so far for Unit 5. Unit 5 is systems, equations, and inequalities. After the notes are plugged in, we're going to go into the solving systems day 2. Okay. All right, so this is going to require multiplication, guys. You must solve by elimination. You need to show your work. So if you look at number 1, which variable do you want to eliminate? Which one could you multiply to eliminate? Okay, so the top needs to be multiplied by what? So close. Yeah, negative 5. Got to be opposite. So negative 5x plus 10y equals negative, what's that, 60? And now we're going to keep the bottom. I need to change this pen. So 5x plus 3y equals negative 44. So the x terms cancel. 13y. A negative plus a negative can be added together. So that's a negative 104. Are we okay on that? Yeah. All right, then you divide both sides. You do have calculators at your desk by 13. And so our y equals negative 8. You get negative 8. All right. Now, this is clearly right here. Make sure, 1, we're solving by elimination. And then we also clearly identify a solution. So our solution should be order pairs, or no solution, or infinite solution. So don't forget to now plug back in. Sorry. So x minus 2 times the negative 8 equals 12. When you subtract 16, you're going to be left with a negative 4. All right, so I'm going to give you class time. These will be in-class checks. So the first check is the front page. I'm going to stamp 1 through 6. Okay. When I check, I will be checking for correct answer, correct work, okay, correct setup. And then the back page will be the check tomorrow in class. Okay.